right, guys, so this is our math class. So today we are talking about changing fractions to decimals. So when we change a fraction to decimal, we keep our fraction bar in mind. Remember, we can read 3/4 as 3 divided by 4. Our fraction bar means divide. So when we're writing that, we're going to say 3 divided by 4. The 3 is our dividend, the 4 is our divisor. So when we divide, we are obviously going to have to use annexing our decimal point in zeros, right? Because that's the only way we're going to be able to divide 4 into 3. So we're going to put our decimal here, our 0 down here, and we're going to say how many times will 4 go into 30? And 4 will go into 30 7 times, right? We put our 7 up here. 4 times 7 is 28. We subtract, 10 minus 8 is 2. We bring down, or we annex another 0, and we bring it down. How many times will 4 go into 20? 5 times. And 5 times 4 is 20. So 3/4 equals 0.75. So let's do the same thing with 3/8. Let's turn 3/8 into a decimal. So we're going to use our fraction bar, 3 divided by 8. 3 divided by 8. It is 3/8, right? Yes. So we're going to annex our decimal points, our 0. And we're going to say how many times will 8 go into 30? So 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. So it's going to have to be 3. So we put our 3 down. 8 times 3 is 24. We subtract, 10 minus 4 is 6. We annex another 0 and bring it down. 8 times 7 is 56. So we subtract, 10 minus 6 is 4. We annex another 0 and bring it down. And 8 will go into 5. Or 8 will go into 40 5 times. 8 times 5 is 40. And we subtract. So 3/8, the fraction 3/8 equals the decimal 0.375. So this is how we turn fractions into decimals. Now if you look, if you open your book and look at page 285, up there in the box, it says learn these fraction decimal equivalents that are used often. Now you won't have to know these so much for the rest of this year, but once you get into middle school, you will definitely want to memorize these fraction decimal equivalents. 1/2 equals 0.5, 1/4 equals 0.25, and 3/4 equals 0.75. 1/5 is 0.2, 2/5 is 0.4, 3/5 is 0.6, 4/5 is 0.8, and then 1/8 is 0.125, 3/8 is 0.375. We did that one on the board. 5/8 is 0.625, and 7/8 is 0.875. So looking at the top, it says change these fractions to decimals. Well, 1/4, it tells us up there, 1/4 is what? 0.25. Letter B, 3/10. Does it give us 3/10 up there? Nope. So for 3/10, we're going to say 3 divided by 10. So it'll look like 3 divided by 10. And that's our 0. 10 will go into 30 how many times? 3. So 3/10 equals 0.3. Some of this you can actually just write as a decimal because we know it. 1/2. 1/2 equals what? 0.5. It's up at the top. 2/5. It's up at the top. 2/5 equals what? 0.4. 7/8. 7/8 is up at the top. 0.875. And now we have letter F, 7/20. So we will have 7 divided by 20. So we'll have to annex a 0 and a decimal point. How many times will 2 go into 7? 2 will go into 7 3 times. 20 times 30 is 60. We subtract, we have 10. We have to annex another 0 and bring it down. How many times will 20 go into 100? 5. So 7/20 equals 3.35. No, let's say that again. 7/20 equals 0.35. And then we have 3/20. So we would have 3 divided by 20. So we'll have to decimal point and next zeros. How many times will 2 go into 3? 1 time. 1 times 20 is 20. Subtract. We have 10. And next another 0 and bring it down. How many times will 20 go into 100? 5 times. So 3/20 equals 0.15. Then we have 9/50. So we have 9 divided by 50. And next are zeros and decimal points. How many times will 5 go into 9? 1 time. 1 times 50 is 50. We subtract, we have 40. And next another 0 and bring it down. How many times will 5 go into 40? That would be 8 times. 8 times 0 is 0 and 8 times 5 is 40. So 9/50 equals 0.18. So pretty cool? I think it's pretty cool. This is definitely getting y'all ready for 6th grade, for middle school. Y'all know you're like 10 days away from being a middle schooler, right? No, yes, yeah, no. I don't know, my weeks are so mixed up. I'm working so far ahead on some things. You're close to being a middle schooler, I'll tell you that. All right, so look at section 2, letter A. We have 0.58, and we are rounding it to the nearest tenth. So the hundredths place will be our looker digit. We're rounding to here. Our looker digit tells us that we are going to add 1 to our hundredths place because that looker digit is 5 or above. Letter B, we have 0.29. Now rounding to the nearest tenth. This is where we're rounding. The hundredths place is our looker digit. It's 5 or above, so it tells us to add 1 to our tenths place. So it is 0.3. Next we have 1.51. We're rounding to the nearest tenth. The hundredths place is our looker digit. It's less than 5. So it tells us that we just leave our tenths place alone, and it's 1.5. Letter D, we have 8.07. We're rounding to the nearest tenth. The 7 is our looker digit. It's 5 or above, so we add 1 to our tenths place, so it would be 8.1. And letter E, we have 6.14. We're rounding to the nearest tenth. The hundredths place is our looker digit. Less than 5, it tells us just to leave it alone. So we have equals 6.1. Letter 3, or section 3, we're rounding off to the nearest hundredth. So we have 0.675. We're rounding to the nearest hundredth. I'm underlining the hundredths place now. The thousandths place is my looker digit. It's 5 or above. So we add 1 to our hundredths place, so it rounds to 0.68. Letter B, we have 0.204. The hundredths place is where we're rounding. The 4 is our looker digit, and the thousandths place, it's less than 5. So we just leave our hundredths place alone, 0.20. Letter E, or letter C, we have 1.316. We're rounding to the nearest hundredths. Underline it. The thousandths place is your looker digit. It's 5 or above, so we add 1 to our hundredths place, 1.32. Letter D, we have 2.403. We're rounding to the nearest hundredths. Thousandths place is our looker digit. It's less than 5, so we leave our hundredths place alone, 2.40. And letter E, we have 1,000. 1.557. Our hundredths place, underline it. Our looker digit is the thousandths place. Thousandths place is 5 or above. So we add 1 to our hundredths place, so we have 1.56. So that's our rounding. You will have rounding on your final exam. Section 4, round off to the nearest whole number. We have 13 and 1/4. So any fraction less than 1/2 is just going to stay to the whole number it is. If it's more than 1/2, then the whole number would go up 1. So we have 13 and 1/4. So that's going to round to 13. Letter B, we have 5 and 1/9. So 5 and 1/9 is going to round, or is going to stay 5. Letter E, we have 8 and 3/11. It's going to stay 8. Letter D, we have 6 and 7/9. So our fraction there, 7/9, is very close to another whole number, so that will move up to 7. And letter E, we have 1 and 2/3. 2/3 is very close to another whole number, 3/3, so that will round up to 2. Turn your papers to the back side and look at page 296. So on page 296, read these story problems. Circle the estimated answer that is closest to the correct answer. Brooke bought 8 yards of cloth at $3.95 per yard. What was the total cost of the cloth? So $3.95 rounds to $4, right? So you're just going to estimate 8 times 4 is 32, and that's your estimated answer, okay? Go ahead and look at section 7. Change to improper fractions. 6 and 2/3 changes to 6 times 3 is 18. 18 plus 2 is 20. 20 over 3. 4 and 4/5. 5 times 4 is 20. Plus 4 is 24. 24 over 5 is our improper fraction. 8 and 3/11. 11 times 8 is 88. Plus 3 is 91. So 91 over 11 is your improper fraction. Go ahead and look at section 8. And we're going to look at letter F. Work that. You definitely have all kinds of fractions on final exam. We have 3/4 times 1/4. So we're just going to simply multiply. 3 times 1 is 3. 4 times 4 is 16. 3/16. Letter G, we have 6/9 plus 2/3. First thing we have to do is find common denominators, which would be 9. 3 will go into 9 3 times. 2 times 3 is 6. 9 will go into 9 1 time. 6 times 1 is 6. We add up our numerators. 6 and 6 is 12. Our denominator is 9. It's an improper fraction. We have to turn it into a whole or mixed number. 9 will go into 12 1 time. 1 times 9 is 9. 9 minus 12 is 3. So 1 and 3/9. But 1 and 3/9 can be reduced to 1 and 1/3 would be our final answer. Letter C, we have 29 and 3/8 minus 14 and 1/2. So first I'm going to bring my whole numbers over and set up to make my equivalent fractions. My least common multiple or least common denominator is 8. 2 will go into 8 4 times. 1 times 4 is 4. 8 will go into 8 1 time. 1 times 3 is 3. So I'm going to have to borrow. I'm going to borrow from my 29, make it 28. My 1 that I'm adding over here will be 8 eighths. Now I have to squeeze in on this board my new problem. So it'll be 28, and 8 and 3 is 11, and 11 eighths minus 14 and 4/8. 28 minus 14 is 14. 11 minus 4 is 7. My denominator is 8. So 14 and 7/8 is your answer. And then letter J, we have 18 and 4/5 plus 46 and 1/2 plus 78 and 2/3. So our least common multiple, our least common denominator is going to be what? Look at that, 5, 2, and 3. Gonna have to count out a ways. Think out a little bit of a ways. What'd you come up with? 30. 30 will be our least common denominator, our least common multiple, same thing. So 3 will go into 30 2 times. Our 3 will go into 30 10 times. 2 times 10 is 20. 2 will go into 30 15 times. 1 times 15 is 15. And 5 will go into 30 6 times. 6 times 4 is 24. This is proven to be a big one, guys. So 8 plus 6 is 14, plus 8 is 22. Put your 2 down, carry your 2. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 4 is 7, plus another 7 is 14. That's our whole number. Go ahead and write your denominator 30. 24 plus 15, 5 and 4 is 9, plus 0. So that'll be 9. 2 and 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So we have 142 and 59 thirtieths. We have an improper fraction there. So our whole number is 142. 30 will go into 59. Oops, I don't go there, sorry guys. 30 will go into 59 one time. 1 times 30 is 30, and 59 minus 30, 9 minus 0 is 9, 5 minus 3 is 2. Our denominator is the same, so it reduces to 1 and 29 thirtieths. We have to put our two whole numbers together, 142 and 1. So we have 143 and 29 thirtieths as our final answer. All right. If you guys have any questions on any of that, you be sure and message me today. And you will complete your math assignment today by completing your interactive worksheet.